I spent over $350 buying expensive items on Temu to see if anything they sell is actually good quality and worth saving some money on from other websites. I'll be testing a mini projector, a podcasting microphone, and 10 other products. Each one will increase in price as I go, but let's get started with the cheapest one, these AirPods knockoffs for $8. So right on the back of the case, you can see they charge through USB-C and they open kind of like AirPods, although I will say the case itself feels like a plastic that I could just snap in half, so I already feel the low quality. Let's get these AirPods out of the case though. And the AirPods themselves don't feel too bad, and it looks like they are trying to Bluetooth connect immediately. So let's get them in my ears and see how comfortable they are. And they're not too bad. And they paired nice and easily. Let's try playing some music through them now and see what they sound like. Hold on a minute. I mean, for $8, these are surprisingly good. They've also got the tap to play pause built into them, and you can hold down to talk to Siri with them. I mean, look, are they the best AirPods I've ever used? Definitely not, but at $8, these are pretty good sound quality. You actually get a little bit of noise cancellation also because they're closed ear AirPods. And as long as you're okay with them feeling low quality, I'm gonna say these are a buy. Next up at $12 is this Bluetooth wireless speaker that can apparently also charge your phone. So on the front of it here, you obviously got the clock. And to be honest, the clock is a little bit difficult to read. It's like almost too pixelated where it kind of bothers me. And then there are buttons here to play and pause your music, as well as turn on the LED light, which has like a million different color options. Now I've got it Bluetooth connected already. I mean, it sounds all right. The sound is super flat and it doesn't really get that loud. That's about as loud as it gets, and I would want it like 2 or 3 times louder than that at its peak. Now it might be perfect for your nightstand still because apparently it can also charge a phone wirelessly on the top. Now I am a big fan of wireless charging, but this cord ends up so close to your phone anyways that at that point you could just plug it in. It's basically not concealed at all. I really dislike the clock on this. I find it hard to read, and the speaker doesn't sound very good at all. Even though it is only $12, I think you can find better options on Amazon for a very similar price. I'm gonna say this one is a don't buy. At just $1 more, $13, we now have this wireless speaker. So thankfully, since the last one didn't work, hopefully this one can redeem it. Now this one looks exactly like a JBL speaker. In fact, they even have the little tag on the front. They just seem to have changed the letters. Let's get this powered on and Bluetooth connected and see how it sounds. Bluetooth mode. Even the intro sound of turning it on kind of sounded like a JBL speaker, but what does music sound like? Okay. Now for some reason, the plus button here actually skips to the next song rather than increasing volume, which I did not expect. And the mode button does switch to a radio mode. The minus button doesn't seem to do anything, so the controls are a little bit weird, but the speaker, for $13, I'm gonna actually have to say it's a buy. It actually sounds pretty good. Next up, we have a mini projector that's only $17. Now this thing is definitely way smaller than I thought it was going to be, but at its price point, if it can do almost anything that a projector can do, it's probably gonna be worth it because projectors can be upwards of like $1,000. It's got all sorts of ports for you to turn it on, micro SD, micro USB, HDMI, and USB ports, and headphone and audio jacks for sound. Now I've got this all plugged into my laptop through USB, got the power cord in. Let's see how it looks on the wall. And this is with me trying to adjust it to get maximum brightness on my wall. It is not too bright on this wall in my room, although there is a little bit of daylight coming through, but regardless if I'm here, which is about 5 feet away from the wall, or here, which is about 10 feet away from the wall, the picture is extremely difficult to see. It basically has no lumens coming through the projector. So technically the projector works, but unless you're in an extremely dark environment, and even then you're only gonna get a very small projection out of it, I can't really recommend this product, so I'm gonna say this one's a don't buy. Next up, we have this drone at $20. So the drone itself unfolds from each of the legs here to actually turn into a drone. And I will say the product itself feels super low quality. I think if you were to hit like a tree or basically anything with this, it's just going to shatter. But then it also comes with this remote, which you turn the antennas open. It has a clamp for your phone, which you open the bottom of. And again, that kind of just feels like it's gonna break on its own. And then of course, all these buttons to actually control the drone. Now, although the remote has room to put your phone into it, I don't see any way to Bluetooth connect the drone to your phone to actually use the camera. There's nothing about it in the instructions, but let's just see if we can fly the drone. All right, so the drone starts on a flat surface, and then you use either these or the buttons to ascend and descend the drone. Let's give this a shot. Okay, starts to take off, and here we go. I mean, to be honest, it's pretty easy to control. I'm able to move this around on my first try. See if I can land the drone. I'm actually super surprised at how easy it was to try this drone. On my very first try, I felt fully in control of it all the way through the air, on the landing and everything. Now, it was advertised as a camera drone, and that's the only downside I have with this, is that I cannot figure out how to get the camera hooked up to it. But for $20, if you just want your first drone to start playing around with, I actually think this is a buy. Next up at $28 is this boxing trainer. Now it does come with Velcro strips on the back and these Velcro tabs so you can put these on and stick it onto your wall wherever you want to. But before I ruin my wall, let's just try this on the counter. Now apparently it will turn on without it being actually plugged in, so the USB-C port on here is just to recharge the device. And then you can use their built-in song or actually Bluetooth connect it to your phone to choose any song you want with this. Let's get our boxing gloves on. And although I've never worn boxing gloves before, these are a bit uncomfortable in my hands. Maybe that's normal. And now once you're all set, you can see the red lights that are flashing, and you want to hit the pads of those red lights at the right timing. So let's give this a shot. Honestly, this is pretty fun, and even in just like 20 seconds or so, I feel like I got a little bit of a workout. I think if you're training for boxing, the fact that a random one lights up every time is pretty awesome. So for $28, I'm gonna say Temu did a good job with this one, and this one is a buy also. Next up is this VR headset at $30. So this has straps on the back to adjust it around your head. You can see the eye slots in the center there that can be adjustable as well. But then to actually use this one, you do have to open it up and put your phone inside. It doesn't connect to any sort of system or computer or anything like that. So you open the front right here, and then you have to download any sort of VR app that you want. I just got a site viewer, but you could probably do some sort of game or something like that too, and choose what you want. And then your phone just goes on the inside right here. It closes shut. Does fit the newest iPhone, although with a small gap there, so not perfectly. And then you just strap this on your head to comfort. And now that scenery that I chose is showing up in front of me right here. I can spin around and kind of see the entire scenery, and it does feel like it's my entire world right now. The headset comes with a remote too, but honestly, it doesn't seem to do anything useful for this. Maybe if you were playing a game or something, you could click some of the buttons, but I think it's just to adjust volume, vision, those sorts of things. If you've never worn a VR headset before and you're just kind of curious of that immersive experience that you could potentially get from a real headset, then maybe you could get some use out of testing this first so you understand what it's like. But for the most part, this is pretty incapable as a VR headset because it's pretty much just amplifying your phone to be a 360-degree video around you. I think if you bought this expecting a full VR experience, it would give VR a bad rep for you because you really wouldn't be getting the experience that an actual VR headset does for you. For that reason, I'm gonna say this is a don't buy. Next up at $33 are these glasses that apparently have a camera built in so you can record. Now the glasses themselves feel pretty low quality. This is made of a weak plastic. They charge through micro USB right there. But one thing I do think is cool is the SD card goes into the slot of the side of the glasses here. Now I think the glasses look pretty weird, and also since they're not sunglasses, they basically have no functionality other than to spy on someone and record. This function button right here takes the photos and the videos, so maybe if you're at an event where you don't want to pull out your phone but you want to record something in front of you easily, these could help with that. However, I wish that they were sunglasses also, so at least they were dual purpose, and also I wish the quality of them just felt better. I feel like I'm gonna break these the first time I throw them in my pocket. For that reason, for me, these are a don't buy. Moving up to $57, this right here is an AI language translator. Now this thing has all sorts of modes. You can do general translation, simultaneous interpretation, use ChatGPT with it, translate a photo, and even do exchange rate conversions. Now a lot of this is already built into a phone app like Google Translate, but let's still try this out and see how it does. I've got this selected from English to Chinese, and then to speak in English, you click this blue button. To speak in Chinese, the orange button. So I'll press the blue button and say, "Where is the bathroom?"
浴室在哪里?
And almost immediately it translates that to Chinese. And I love that it speaks it out loud. So if you're talking to someone who doesn't understand you, now they heard you properly. And of course, they can click the orange button and speak right back to you and have it translate automatically. I also think the live exchange rate conversion is really cool. You can choose something like, for example, Japanese yen, and do the conversion to US dollars. So for example, 100 Japanese yen is about 66 cents. And it also comes with this little necklace so you can wear it around while you're traveling. This actually feels like a super high quality product, and I think it works really well. I'm actually gonna travel with this one. And then although for Temu it's a steep price point at $57, I think this is definitely a buy. Next up at $59 is this full podcasting microphone kit. And this really does come with the full setup, starting with the clamp, which you can clamp onto any surface. I'm just putting it onto my counter right here and then tightening it. And then the microphone arm, which extends open and sits inside of the clamp right here. Get that nice and tight so it holds that arm well for us. And then the microphone itself screws onto the end of that. And that gives you a fully adjustable microphone. You can move the arm around, you can move the microphone itself at an angle like this or this and tighten it, or back and forth just like this. So however you want this, you can get it nice and set up. And so far this feels super high quality. All of the pieces feel really good, and the microphone itself feels good quality too, but most importantly, how does it sound? And now with it all plugged in, this is the sound actually coming from the microphone. I'm gonna move a little bit closer. I see it's quiet, but this should be pretty good. This is what you're now hearing. And after listening to that playback, this microphone actually sounds really good for its price point. It's also got a mute button built in so you can easily mute your microphone, and volume increase and decrease buttons. So at its price point for the microphone and everything included, I think this is a steal from Temu. It's definitely a buy. And our final product at $68 is a 4K digital camera. Now it pretty much has all of the functionality of a camera that you'd expect. All sorts of editing, adjusting, zoom, and all sorts of different video and photo modes. And you can even pull the screen out so that if you're taking a selfie, you can see exactly what you're taking it of. And it also comes with an additional lens, which is an ultra wide lens, which just attaches onto the front of the camera as you'd expect. Now, I'm no photo expert, but photos with this camera actually look pretty good. So to me, if you're just looking for a beginner camera that you can use to take great photos at $68 from Temu, I think that's an absolute steal once again, and I'm gonna say it's a buy. Now, although those AirPods that we first tested at $8 were pretty good for their price point, if you want better and high quality AirPods, Apple just released a bunch of them and I tested them all right here.